guys, hello again, welcome to my back room. Yeah, so I'm getting splashed here by water. Let me show you. Yeah, I have turtles. Well, they're not actually mine. They're my grandson's, but yeah, we have to buy like a fish tank for them because yeah, they need a lot of room. And the reason what do you call it, the water looks dirty is because they were eating lettuce and banana. We have to clean all that out. I better move this. They're constantly wetting my book. Okay, so the last time I spoke, and that, I don't know if it was back here or in the backyard. I don't remember. But I was talking about, I think they even wet my glasses. Ah, darn it. Darn. And, yeah. So I haven't had a chance to read my manuscript yet. I'm still working on it. And, I don't know how I'm going to do. Oh, I think I was mentioning about how to put the book as an how to even start an ebook, because I don't even know how to do that yet. So thinking along on those lines. So and putting everything on a hard drive, because I couldn't remember what those things were called. I know they were called. Oh, I gotta watch it before they throw that water in my coffee. A flash drive, not a hard drive, flash drive. And I was like, what do you call that little thing that you used to put on the side of the computer and your laptop? I couldn't remember the word, like, for nothing. And I asked my daughter, what was that thing? And then it finally hit me. Was it called a flash drive? She goes, yeah, it's called a flash drive. And I was like, now I remember. Oh, God. Just looking at some stuff my granddaughter made. But anyway, just drinking some cold coffee that I had earlier. So still thinking about doing that. And gonna get on that as soon as I can. So I found, well, not that I found, because I have all these little journals that I've been buying from Dollar Tree, like left and right, and I have given away so many of them as well. But I decided to grab one for myself because I want to start writing down the books that I read, and not only give you a small synopsis of what it was about, but how I felt about the book, and you know what I thought was lacking, or they should have put something else in it. Like the first one that I read, and it says in the front, be joyful always. The first one that I read was definitely The American Pop. That's the one I started out with. Now remember, I said I was trying to get up every morning at 6 a.m. And lately I haven't been doing that, only because my household kind of changed a little bit in the means of you know, people moving in, and another addition to the family, which wasn't a person, it was a German Shepherd. So things are just a little bit trying to get used to everything. So again, the one I read, well, I'm still trying to get up at 6. It's just been a little bit harder for me. I haven't really gotten up and read a book. It's been over a week. So, but I'm going to try to get back into the swing of things. I'm going to try to, well, because for one, I want to be back here, and I want to do the video, you know, do my arts and crafts here. But the turtles, I was like, well, the turtles are going to be in the way. But I was like, well, they don't take up that much room, so I guess I could still do it. I'll probably have to put them on the floor or something. Because I have a lot of storage back here. I mean, it's just filled a lot right here. But I'll figure maybe I could just put them down there while I'm crafting, as long as they don't jump and bite my legs, I guess. Anyway, okay, but I'll work on it. So the book that I read, and I finished reading it, was The American Pop. And now that one, it was supposed to be the rise and fall of an empire. And it was all because of a cola that they had, not invented, but had a different flavor. And they introduced it, of course, to everyone. Everybody, loved it. And it just seems like everything that the whole family, the Forsters, it was called the Forsters family, that those were the people who were in charge of the Panacola Cola. The whole family just seemed to had, like, they all died. It was kind of like a sad ending. And then the worst part was that you never found out what the secret was. Well, it was supposed to be fiction and nonfiction at the same time. I go, well, which way are you going? Is it supposed to be fiction or not? Or was it supposed to be, real? So, I mean, they did have two people that they put in there. Josephine Baker, I think I mentioned this before, and then Jane Austen, because one of the daughters always read a book of Jane Austen to her daughter, and when she was little, and she would read her stories as a bedtime story every night. So that's how Jane Austen got put into that book. All in all, I mean, it was a pretty fair book. I mean, there was a lot of things that went on in that book. I mean, it was like, it started out from way back 1875 to 1967. So that was like way, a big long stretch of from the great-grandparents to the grandparents, and then the children and their kids and so on, and the servants, and a lot happened that it just crammed so much in that book that it was just too much, I think. But it was just sad at the end, because at the end, the one who ended up having or taking charge of the whole empire was a great-great-granddaughter. And I think, I'm not sure if she died or not, but then at the very, very end, the whole empire ended, the house that they grew up in, the corporation, I think, was taken by the great-great-granddaughter, and the house that they grew up in ended up being turned into a museum. So that was kind of like, yeah, I mean, it was okay. And of course, every time people came in, to see how they lived, he would always say, oh, well, this person lived here, and that was their room. So it was like a showpiece of how the family lived back in the day. Okay, so it was a good read, though. I liked it. It was okay. Now, the other one, that was a physical book. Now, the other book that I read was on my Kindle, and that was the book that I read at nighttime. And, again, I read it because I don't like to put on the light, because I need the kids to go to sleep. So, I would read that one. It was called The Secret of Willow House. And this one, it was a cute book too. I mean, it was supposed to be like a romance book. But the only thing I didn't like was that they had two main characters, Maeve and the aunt, which her name was Philomena, but they called her Phil for short. And she did have a sister. And she was kind of like a designer for houses. She like landscape, something like that, the outside and the interior. You know, she would landscape outside and inside the house. So she was working for somebody in London, and she was going through a crisis, and the doctor says, well, you know, you're working too hard and you need to slow down, take a vacation. So that's what she did, and she ended up going to Ireland, and that's where her aunt was at. But before she went to Ireland, she kind of like hooked up with one of her clients' grandson. And you know, he kind of like was kind of like making a move on her. You know, he liked her and stuff like that, and even made plans before she left to Ireland, because she said she was definitely coming back, and he even made plans to be with her and stuff like that. It was sweet. I go, oh yeah, okay, she got somebody who's interested in her. But then she ends up going to Ireland. This is Maeve, the niece. And then she goes to Ireland, and she meets this other guy. And this other guy was going through problems because he had just lost his wife, and he wasn't really up to seeing anybody, but nevertheless, he fell in love with Maeve. So she had this one guy. So it was kind of like a two affair thing. She had one in London and then one in Ireland. And I'm like, okay, well, who's going to win here? Who's going to win, you know, her love, or who's going to end up being her beau, whatever. And she ended up not dumping the other guy for the other guy in Ireland for no reason. I mean, the dude didn't do anything wrong, and I couldn't understand it. I was like, okay, so this guy in Ireland, yeah, kind of like swept her off her feet and stuff like that, but you did say that you were going to go on a date with this guy when you came back, because you weren't sure that you were going to stay. You weren't planning on staying in Ireland. You were going to come back. And you made this guy believe that you were going to come back, and you guys were going to be, you know, hunky-dory, go on dates, and, you know, have, you know, a good romance. But and just because you literally upset him, you got mad and took it out on him when he didn't do anything wrong. So that was kind of like, I didn't get that at all. I was like, something went wrong in that book. Something definitely went wrong. Now, Phil, she went out there just to take a break from just a vacation. And then she ended up somehow getting involved in her aunt's dilemma, which was her house was falling apart. And she didn't know how she was going to, you know, get money to do repairs. But she knew her husband was into something, because these checks kept coming in. They weren't big checks, but they were never left checks. And she didn't know whether she would deposit them. She didn't know where they came from. So Maeve, the niece, got involved and ended up finding out the secret. Well, the reason it was called The Secret of Willow House was because Philomena, Phil's husband, who had died, was publishing books behind Phil's back, and they were romance books. And even though they were both writing books, he did it behind her back without her knowing. She ended up dropping what she was doing, because she ended up more doing entertaining at the latter day of their relationship than, you know, than any writing, because they were both writers. And she did more entertaining, a lot of drinking, so she kind of like slipped away. But he continued, nevertheless, behind her back. And the books were selling like rapidly. They were good, they were selling. And then he died, and then that's when the niece took over and trying to find out who was who, what was going on, blah, blah, blah. So then they took over the husband's books, pretending to be him. And then at the end, they were trying to find somebody to publish their book. book, even though it was kind of like his idea. And again, that's when the guy in London was a publisher too, and he wanted to help them sell the book that they both had written, Philomena and Maeve. But their publisher was bigger than the publisher in Ireland. He goes, well, if you want to go that route, go ahead, and that's when he got upset, because he was like, well, I thought you were going to come back and stay, and now you're talking about leaving. Now you want to go and live in Ireland and blah, blah, blah. And it was a mess. I think that story was a big mess. So she ended up hooking up with the guy in in Ireland, and then growing her own business and staying in Ireland. Yeah, but the other dude didn't do anything wrong. I felt so bad for the guy in London. I really did. So, but again, it was a good read. So right now, I am reading 2 more books. One is on the Kindle. It's called Little Girl Sleeping. Now, this one, I haven't really gotten into much of it yet, but apparently it's about an investigator. She was little. She liked investigating things, and now that she's older, one of her playmates ended up dying when she was little, and now that she's older, she's trying to find out who did it. The Stylist, that's a book cover, a hardcover book, and that one is kind of like, I think I mentioned before, it's kind of like the Devil Wears Prada, kind of that thing. So I still have to get to find out more of the characters, and I'll let you know how that's going along. Okay, so I am still watching Stranger Things. I think I have watched the whole series, like all 4 seasons over and over and over again, and only because at one point it just started making me cry, because I feel like, we don't do that, and everything that happened like in the 40s, 50s, the 70s and 80s, we don't live like that anymore. And I mean, when was the last time you said, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with my friend, and then go, so I mean, you have your friend. I mean, that's what I used to do. I used to have my friends when I was a teenager, and it was funny because we moved a lot when in that generation. We went from moving all the time. We never stayed in one place, and it was always hard, to hook up with friends like all the time. So, and just when you got acquainted with somebody, oh, we're moving. Man. Okay, so we're moving. So then we ended up being at this one place, and we were there for quite a while. And I ended up hooking up with 2 friends who were ended up being my buddies, my beasties, I guess you could say. But I was a public school girl, and both of my friends, we all came like tight knitted. They were Catholic girls. They went to Catholic schools. I was the only one that went to public school. And there was another girl too. She came later on into the picture. And well, Patty and Dora were the ones that went to Catholic school. Rita was going to public, but then she ended up going to Catholic. So, and we were always together all the time, going out, going to parties, hanging out, at each other's houses and stuff like that. It was just, I even had Dora sew me a dress because I wanted her to make me a dress, and she did, because she was into sewing. She did a real good job. But we were always hanging out, and it just brought me to tears, because I was like, we don't do that anymore. You don't hang out with your beastie anymore, hardly. Maybe I do know one girl that does that, and that's probably my ex-manager when I used to work at the bakery. She's always made time to see her friends, which I always thought was a great thing. But yeah, so I keep watching it over and over again. It always just brings tears to my eyes, and of course the nostalgia of it all. It's just It's just incredible. So yeah, I gotta stop watching it. I just got, okay, go cold turkey and not watch it anymore, because it just depresses me. Anyway, am still doing my arts and crafts. So the ones that I'm doing right now are, I'm doing like die cuts. So I've been using, I don't know if you can say, I've been using die cuts like that, and some stars and moons. And these are like the ones that I cut out. They're like silhouettes. You could kind of see them. One's a girl. One's a girl. If I do it on my hair, you'll be able to see it. The other parts are dresses. And then this one was, let me see. They were all basically the same thing, except for this one was stars and moons. And this one was for a haunted house. So I did use my Halloween pack, Halloween Town. It was really cute. I mean, I have other ones like these. I want to use these. And then I have the stickers to go with them, which I want to make a little bit more cars. This is like, you can see it. You see the bat. And this one goes to the girl with the dresses. You can see the face, the legs, the eyes. So I'm going to be working on that this week, and I'll show you. I'll let you know how that's coming along. I am using my little book. I come in here, and what I do, I just grab it and use, I just write in here, because what good is you making a journal of any kind if you don't use it? So I was going to go to Dollar Tree today, and what do you call it? And I don't know if you remember in Beetlejuice, the Maitlands. Remember when they were hanging, and Beetlejuice was like literally killing them, and and I guess Winona Ryder, I forgot her name in the movie, she was saying, no, stop, you're killing them. And then I guess the father said, no, they're already dead, they don't feel anything. And she's like, no, yes they are, Anyway, it was both of them, and they were like both in there, like almost like skeletons, and they had the wedding, she had the wedding dress and he had the groom's wear on. Well, they had the same skeletons at Dollar Tree when I went, and I saw them, and I said, oh, that reminded me of the Maitlands. And I said, oh yeah, that's so cute. But now that I thought about it, I go, oh, I gotta go back and get them. But when I went today, they were closed because they had an electric shortage or something. Their lights were out and they were closed. And I was like, oh, darn it. And what I'm hoping that with my luck, they'll be open tomorrow and they will still be there. Fingers crossed. I hope. Because now I really want them, I should have grabbed them when I saw them. But again, I'm like, no, I don't want to collect any stuff because I'm trying to get rid of stuff. I don't want to collect any more stuff. So, but I'm going to give it a go. If they don't have them there tomorrow, I'll probably end up going to a different Dollar Tree and try my luck over there. And if they don't got them, then, well, they just don't got them, and I lost out. Because one thing about Dollar Tree, and I guess you all know that, you got to get it when you see it, because if you don't, it won't be around. If they do come back, well, then you're lucky that they come back a year again. But other than that, it's like hit or miss. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. And it's trying to get back into the swings of things, and yeah. So that's what I'm going to try to get on tonight. I'm going to try to get on some more of my crafts, do some more die cuts. And yeah, so thank you so much for like a fish in the sea. So glad you caught me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!